America, I'm Hugh Hewitt. Bethany Mandel is the founder of the MomWars.substack.com, and she joins me on the eve of Yom Kippur. Bethany, when do you begin to observe Yom Kippur?
So that's the night before. So it's a 25-hour fast, so it starts the night before, and so that's Wednesday night this week.
Oh, so tomorrow night. I'm glad I'm talking to you today then. The 25-hour fast, does that apply to toddlers or do they get a break?
They get a break. So you don't have to start fasting until you are bar or bat mitzvah age. So it's 12 for girls and 13 for boys.
So do they hang around and eat in front of the parents to be obnoxious?
Yeah. It's torture.
Yeah, of course they do.
And then you get to make things for them. I've had kids shoving food in my mouth on a fast day before. That's always really fun too. It's great. It's a great time.
That's great. Bethany, I want to talk about two things with you. The peace accord, but first, the federal government shuts down tonight at 12:01. The two states that get hammered the worst are Virginia and Maryland. Do you have any neighbors who are impacted by this at all?
So that was news to me. I heard that something might happen, but I have not been following it because I don't ever really notice when there's a shutdown. I live in a neighborhood that is mostly federal employees, and I actually find it really interesting because I think I have observed property values going down. I have a neighbor who sold his house for $740,000. I think a year ago he could have sold it for over $800,000. So I think the property values in this area are starting to dip because of
Well, I do
Doge.
think some of your neighbors are going to lose their job if Chuck Schumer goes forward with the Schumer shutdown, because Russ Vought over at OMB, he's got the knives out and he's sharpening them. I have called this the Seinfeld shutdown because it's a shutdown over nothing. Do you have any idea what the Democrats are asking for?
No idea. If I were to listen to Republicans' messaging, there was something related to health cares for illegal immigrants. I don't know how true that is. To be honest, I have not paid attention. I only have so much bandwidth in my life, and this is just not on my radar. I don't know. I think I'm on the far end of normies, and so if I'm not paying attention, I guarantee most of America is not either.
The people who are paying attention are those who are not going to get paid and those who are going to lose their jobs and those who need a federal permit from a federal permitting office that they're not going to be able to get. And that is going to be, but we're not going to do the Obama stuff and close Mount Rushmore and close the Washington Monument. I'm pretty sure we're not going to do that. Bethany, let me ask you about the Middle East peace deal. Were you surprised by the Netanyahu-Trump presser yesterday?
I wasn't surprised. I think that it was a really interesting chess move on the part of the Israelis because they've basically positioned Hamas into a corner and they've gotten Turkey and Qatar and Egypt to sign on to this. And so if Hamas says no, which I think they probably will, they will have made enemies of all three of those benefactors. And one of the most diabolically brilliant parts of this agreement was that the Israelis promised not to strike Qatar again if this deal goes through. And so if this deal does not go through because of Hamas and then Israel strikes again, everyone can point their fingers at Hamas and say, well, if you had taken the deal, we wouldn't have hit your people in Doha again.
And the deal's first step, and I want everyone to understand that in the audience who is listening or watching, all of the hostages are released immediately. Right? There's no twosies and threesies or fives and 10. All of the 20 living and the 30 deceased will be turned over on day one. That's my understanding. Is that your understanding?
That is correct. And that's an important point because I was reading the Washington Post reporting of this story, and I think I got down to paragraph 9 where they recognize that there are hostages being held. A shocking few number of Americans. I think they're not listeners of your show because you actually talk about this. But unfortunately, you're one of the few people who talks about the fact that there are hostages being held in Gaza for almost 2 years.
So I'm asking you to predict here, and we have no way of understanding what a terrorist thinks or how they think. Do you think they'll take this deal and leave because they get nothing out of this deal except their lives, and we don't know for how long? Do you think they'll take it, or are they going to go down fighting?
If I were to make a prediction, I would not put my money on them taking the deal. I think that the only hope for that, and I do have hope, I do hope they take this deal. I do hope that this is over and that the hostages come home and that this war can end. The only hope is the fact that Bibi and Trump have positioned It's so that if Hamas says no, they're also saying no to the Qataris, the Egyptians, and the Turks.
And I want to underscore something that I don't think our audience understands or may not know. Under the terms of the deal, to which every Arab nation in the Gulf, Egypt and Turkey and Qatar have agreed, the Israelis keep the Philadelphia corridor, and I think they keep the Netzarim corridor. I'm not sure. Do you know?
I know that they keep Philadelphia. I'm not sure that they are able to. I'm not sure of the exact who controls what and how far away, but that issue was taken care of. That I know. I just don't know the exact details of who controls it, how close they are. That I don't remember the details of.
Do you have any idea why the Turks agree? I mean, Qatar and Turkey are the big Hamas supporters, and they're the most radical. The Sunni Arabs in the Gulf want this thing to be over so they can get back to business and maybe get Gaza rebuilt. But why did Turkey and Qatar agree to this?
I mean, who knows what happened behind the scenes? I think that the strike that happened in Doha, even though it was unsuccessful in killing their intended targets, it was a success in that it scared the Qataris. That wow, the Israelis have so many cojones that they'll come and they'll strike in Qatari territory, and I think they thought that that was not on the table, and now they realize that there is nothing off the table. And so I think that it was very successful in that way to put some fear into them. The Turks, I don't know. Maybe it's the same fear. Maybe they're afraid that Israel will strike inside their territory also.
Well, after the 2 years since 10/7, the capabilities of the IDF are so extraordinary, and of Shin Bet and of Mossad. Everybody's got to worry about the knock on the door, don't they, in that part of the world?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's the message that Israel has sent over the course of the last 2 years. They took out Nasrallah, they went into Tehran, they went to Doha. Where have they not gone at this point? And what's probably terrifying for the people in this region is that they did so in ways that blew everyone's mind. The intelligence was terrible in Gaza, but it was very good everywhere else in the Middle East, and they're sort of wondering and looking over their shoulders like, is my housekeeper a member of Mossad? I don't know who to trust anymore, because they hit so precisely in so many different places that I think the paranoia is justified.
So it's going to be an extraordinary Yom Kippur. How do you spend? We got 1 minute, Bethany. For the people who don't know anything about Yom Kippur, what's it about?
So we turn off all of our phones and TVs and all of those things, just like we do on Shabbat and on major holidays. And we spend it not eating and not drinking any water and praying and bringing our kids to the synagogue, where they will have childcare there for a few beautiful hours. But that's basically it. This is actually my first year that my youngest kid is old enough for childcare, so I might actually go to synagogue for the first time in like 13 years.
Well, good for you. Blessed Yom Kippur. I don't know what the appropriate wish is, but a blessed one to you, Bethany, and to your entire family. I'll talk to you on the other side, and hopefully peace is on the other side as well. Thank you for joining me today. Don't go anywhere, America. I'll be right back on The Hugh Hewitt Show.